Today we are going to discuss about if conditional. Before we begin, let me introduce to our group name and colony. And colonies come from our realization that the greatest lesson in life can be taken from smallest creatures such as ants. Mostly ants are known as a social insect, with their colonies and nests in an orderly fashion. In fact, when they are faced with problem and obstacle, the little ants never give up and always find way to achieve their goal together as a team. So our team wanted to be the ants that never give up and always work as a teamwork. When we learn English language, if conditional is also considered as important as other grammar in English because it helps us to express things that might happen in the present or the future. When we want to put if conditional sentence, we need to make sure to choose the right formula based on the situation that happens. So usually the author of scientific paper will use this sentence in their abstract while they are trying to explain the reason to conduct in their study. So it is important for us to explain it correctly in a proper way. And by holding the understanding of if conditional sentence, it would also help us to improve our grammar, especially when it comes to express situation and their possible outcome. And it also acceptable for any situation, whether it is formally or informally. And as a non-native speaker, we might find a bit of problem occurred in the process of learning, but I think it will be fixed by the consistency and repetition from the student itself. And in this video we are going to getting deeper about if conditional, starting from the definition, the parts, the types, and we'll also explain how to write if conditional sentence. Thank you.
Definition of if conditional. In English grammar, a conditional sentence is a type of sentence that expresses one situation as a conditional from the occurrence of another situation. Put simply, the basic structure underlying most conditional sentences can be expressed as if this then that. Also called conditional construction or conditional. In the field of logic, a conditional sentence is sometimes referred to as an implication. Part of conditional sentence. A conditional sentence have two clauses that rely on each other to make sense. A conditional clause and a main clause. The tenses of this clause determine the type conditional sentence, which the next section will be explained. A. Conditional clause. The conditional clause is a dependent clause beginning with if. All conditional sentences have a clause beginning with if because it expresses the condition. Like the example, if you want, if I am late to school. Whenever a clause beginning with if, the depends of more information to be complete, it must be paired with an independent clause. So the dependent clause is only half a conditional sentence and couldn't be sentence is on its own. B. Main clause. The main clause is what provides the rest of information to complete a conditional sentence. It's an independent clause that states the result of the conditional if clause. In other words, it's the then part of an if or then situation. In the example is, if you want, I can go with you to the store. As you can see, the main clause express complete true and can be sentenced on their own. But you can also see that we also need them to complete the two as a dependence clause.
Okay, next is type of conditional sentence. As a rule, conditional sentences are categorized by whether the situation are real or imagined. However, there are many types and forms of conditional statement and that can be quite complicated. Varying depending on time, is like length of occurring and other factors. This article will help you understand the basic and teach you how to recognize a conditional sentence when you see one. The first is real conditional or zero conditional. Real conditional are sentences expressing the real condition for things that happen, not hypothetical things. They share true statement about things that will happen or do happen in certain condition or circumstance. Zero conditional sentence can come in many forms. but since they are based in fact, they only serve past and present situation, not possible future situation. So, in writing it, use a combination of past and present tense. The first is present tense. In many zero conditional sentence, but both clauses are in the present simple tense like this. If they are happy, I am happy. If there is snow, we make snowman. But it can also be written using other present tense like this. Present continuous plus present simple. If it is snowing, we don't drive. Present continuous plus present continuous. If he is staying, I am going. All of these examples express that every time A happens, B happens, or we do B. Next is past tense. Zero conditional can also reflect situations that already happened like this. Past simple plus past simple. If it snows, we never drove. Past simple plus past continuous. We always made snowman if it was snowing.
Imagine conditional. We use imagine conditional sentence to talk about hypothetical or imagined conditions that are possible, likely, or even impossible. Based on the level of possibility, there are three conditional: first, second, and third. The first conditional shares the result of situation in the future that we think is pretty likely to happen. It from use a conditional clause in the present simple and the main clause in the future tense. The main clause will use a modal like would, should, could, will, may, might, or can. For the example, if I sleep now, I will be up all night. If he likes cookies, you should bake some for him. As we will explain, with the second and third conditional, things become less likely or even completely imagined. Second conditional. The second conditional shows possible outcomes that could occur in the present or future. If specific condition exists, the second conditional from use a conditional clause in the past simple and the main clause in the future tense also using modals. For the example, if you sleep until 3 p.m., you shouldn't be tired. If you ate all the cookies, you would have to bake more. Third conditional. The third conditional lets us contemplate what could have happened if things went differently in the past. It from use the past perfect for the conditional statement and the conditional perfect tense would have plus verb. For the main clause, you can also use other modal instead of would. For the example, if you had gone to bed earlier, you would have been whereas. If you had made more cookies, we might have had enough. As you can see, the sentence only reflects what possibly could have happened, not what still can or might happen.
How to write conditional tenses? Writing conditional tenses is very easy to write, especially conditional clause that start with if. We can use this for real and image scenario and to express a case to hypothetical possible and situation. That more conditional tenses allow us to do their thing by combining past, present, and future tenses without much variation or consultation. Is a combinational tenses is a type. The tenses that start a conditional and ask a conditional for the occurrence of another. A conditional tenses has two dependent clause. The conditional clause with is a dependent clause that starts with if in tenses, and for the main clause with is a dependent clause that starts the result of their eight conditional clause. Next, conditional tenses type a category based on whether the situation is real or imaginary. The real conditional is a tenses that start a real conditional that occurs, not an image. And as for image conditional, talking about potential conditional or image conditional. There are three conditional levels of whiteboard: first, second, and three. The first conditional situation is the very picture that is light or occur. The second conditional is a situation that's called occur but has not yet occurred. Last, third conditional, further that could happen. Next, writing conditional tenses is very easy to write, especially conditional clause that start with if. we can use real and image tenses. And for conditional tenses, we do with this by combination past, present, and future tenses without much limitation. That's for presentation about if conditional. Thank you.